All right, so we're gonna start from the back of this. So actually, I want to tell you, actually go back a little bit. I am doing test corrections the same way I did them for the last test. I highly recommend a whole bunch of you do this. So again, it starts off very similar to what we've always done. You got to do the test corrections. So for this time, here's what I mean by doing the test corrections. We went through this orange sheet last time. So you got to do the orange sheet. You have to study. You have to retake a similar but different test. But what's different is I will guarantee everyone who does this either a 65. So some of you that applies to you, you can do the test corrections and I'll give you a 65. If you already have a 65, I'll guarantee you 10 points higher. So even if you retake it and you don't do any better, I'll guarantee you, I'll put in the grade book, 10 points higher than you got on the original test. Or a 65. Or whatever grade you got on the retake. So if you do a retake and you get a 100, I'll give you the flat out 100. So in the end, everyone who does corrections, you are guaranteed a much better grade. So either 65 or 10 points higher or whatever you actually earned. This is different than what I used to do. This is good, especially for anyone who's failing. Guaranteed passing by doing this. Even if you're passing, but you still want to boost that grade up a little bit, guaranteed 10 points higher. Yes, it's a little bit of work, but I really recommend everyone doing the test corrections, especially if you are on the verge of failing the year. So if that's you, redo the test corrections, please. Now, I do want to go over some of these. I am not going to go over all of them word for word, but this is one that I want to go over. My key here, what I was kind of digging you guys at is, if I asked you flat out porosity, just what do we know about size and porosity? Size does not matter. What if I asked you about capillarity? Size does matter, and smaller the better. So when I come up here and I ask you about porosity, when the bead size changes, what happens to the porosity? You just told me porosity size does not matter. So it stays the same. Capillarity, you just told me the smaller the better. So smaller beads have better capillarity. Bigger beads, worse capillarity. A lot of people just assumed that was the same question that was on the quiz because it looked the same. Not gonna lie, I'm just gonna put up this one from the, and this answer isn't correct, but this is the one from the quiz. I switched the titles, or the labels, I should say. So it wasn't the same one off the quiz, and I'm sorry, but I did that on purpose to mess with you, to prove a point. You all knew this, but then when you went to the graph, you just did what your gut told you. Your gut was that it was the same as the quiz. Right? Okay, then as for the rest of the answers, as always, when I hand grade something, I definitely can make mistakes. So I do want to go over, and plus, anyone doing test corrections should probably write down the right answers. So let's go through this. The answer to number 1 is C. The answer to number 2 is A, and 3 is D. So again, check that I didn't make a mistake. It should say CAD on the first page. The second page, number 4 is C. Number 5 is C. 6, B. 7, A. 8, B. 9, A. 10, B. Eleven is C. 12 is B, 13 D, 14 D, 15 C. What do you need? Yep. So you need me to repeat 11 through 15. Okay, so 11 is C. 12 B. 13 D. 14 D. 15 C. 16, the answer is B. 17, again, 17 and 18, make sure you read. 17 was asking for why the temperatures in December were different. And that's because Birdsville, there was two good answers. So then you would have had to say Bundaberg is closer to a large body of water. Or you could have said that Bundaberg is on the windward side of the mountain. And honestly, the same answers are true for 18, which asked why. Oh, you could have also said a third answer for 17 would have been elevation. They were at different elevations, so that could have been an answer. For 18, the two good answers would have been it's on the windward side of a mountain or it's near an ocean. In this case, you could not have just said elevation for that one, because being higher on a mountain does not give you more rain. 19. 1 is evaporation, 2 transpiration, 3 condensation, 4 precipitation, 5 runoff, and 6 infiltration. That whole question was only worth 1 point. You had to have all of them right to get them right. 20, I realized that I actually was too generous for this. I'm not going to make you change, or I'm not going to change your grades. But first of all, it did say 2. So if you only did 1, you didn't get any credit. But what I realized afterwards is it does say surface characteristics. So surface characteristics mean they want to talk about the land. So if you talked about the slope or the vegetation or what material it is, meaning if it's small particles or large particles, if it's saturated or unsaturated. You could have talked about the infiltration rate. What I should not have accepted was amount of precipitation. I should not have taken that, and I know I took that. Or someone who said it's raining faster or raining heavy, because it did ask for a surface feature. That means a feature of the land, not a feature of the weather. So I was generous on that. Keep that in mind during the Regents to answer the question they asked specifically. All right. Questions 21 through 23 are classic Regents questions. I know you have not ever seen an Earth Science Regents from start to, so you've not seen an Earth Science Regents from start to finish yet. We will be looking at real old Regents, or so old real Regents, I should say, so that you get an actual copy of one. But what you will find out is on the Regents, one set of questions has a reading with it. I feel like I've already told you my opinion of these questions. Earth Science, I would rather them just test your knowledge of Earth Science, not your reading comprehension. Again, I don't have any control over that. But this is how they operate. They take a concept, lake effect snow. If you guys notice that whole chapter we did weather, I never talked about lake effect snow. I might have brought it up, but I never explained it. And that's because unfortunately the Earth Science Regents people, that's not one of the topics that they require us to teach. And because they require so many other concepts I think are stupid, I don't have a lot of time to go into lake effect snow. And this happens a lot. Like if you notice, didn't talk about hurricanes, Didn't talk about tornadoes. None of the fun stuff. Some of you are going to be disappointed with the astronomy chapter because I'm not going to talk about the fun stuff in astronomy either. Sorry, Sean, I'm talking to you. I'm not going to glaze over the fun stuff. I'm sorry. Again, not my choice. But this is what they do, is they take a concept that a lot of people know about, lake effect snow, and they mix it with stuff you do know and put it in a reading. And then what did you say, Jake, when I totally just ignored you when you spoke? What did you say about this question? Didn't even have to use the picture. The picture may have helped, and I think you should have used the picture, Jake, but just saying. Didn't have to, though. These questions, sometimes the answer is word for word in the reading. You can tell by where I underline stuff that sometimes the answer is word for word in the regions, but sometimes the answer is a mixture of the reading and your reference table and what you know about earth science. So I'll go through this. The first one says, state the relationship that exists between water temperature and air temperature for lake effect snow to develop. Right here in the reading, the temperature of the water at the surface of the lake must be higher than the temperature of the air flowing over the water. So the only acceptable answer there would have been water had to be warmer. I guess you could have said air had to be colder. But if you just wrote colder, that's wrong. If you said the air is colder, that would have been right. Again, make sure you guys write in a complete thought, not just complete word or just words. 22, statewide locations east and southeast of Lake Ontario are more likely to receive lake effect snow than locations west of the lake. Again, that was straight out of the reading. But again, guys, I was kind of generous on this. Some people just said because the lake runs lengthwise from west to east. That's not enough. It's part of it. So if you just said because the lake runs lengthwise west to east on the regions, that would be wrong and you could not get credit. You had to then talk about how the winds are able to gather maximum amount of moisture as they flow across the entire length of the lake. And that was a long sentence, so all I said is the wind blows from the west to the east, and that would have been good enough. So be careful. Now the next one, I want everybody to read their answer. If your answer only said it's forced to climb, what did it say? Let me reread this. Forced to climb the slopes of the Tug Hill. I gave you credit. I should not have. Again, I was being generous. That was your wrote? A lot of you. So guys, that's what a lot of people wrote. So forced to climb the slopes of the Tug Hill Plateau is partially true. There's two things though. Does Tug Hill Plateau get a lot of snow because it's a hill and it's forced to go up? What about going, huh? No.
That's not what I put.
That's, yeah. Higher elevation's not good enough. Just because a place is high on a mountain does not mean it's going to get a lot of snow. So Jake says we don't need the picture. But gee willikers, it's like I drew pictures of mountains a lot, people. Gee willikers. It's like I drew a picture a lot where there was a mountain and the wind was blowing on against the mountain. Kind of, wait, don't use that sink. There's papers in that sink. Didn't I draw pictures that look like a mountain with winds blowing across them? Isn't this a picture of a mountain with winds blowing? So Jake, I really think you should have used the picture. Why does right here, meaning right here on a mountain, get a lot more snow? No, this is the actual question, guys. Why does right here, which is kind of like right here,
Why don't you tell me?
no, I'm going to tell you, you guys know this. I do know this. What do we know about mountains and the wind side of a mountain? Why is it wet or humid? Carter, do you got this? Because it's, I think you mean cold and moist. The windward side is always cold and moist on this side. I could have, because it's on the windward side of a mountain, would have been a perfect answer. Or, as the reading says right here, orographic lifting. This whole concept is orographic lifting. Jake, you are super distracting. I would like you to stay. Okay, but just keep it in your hands. You would have been good.
But it was wet.
Okay, that's that. And we already went over the last question. Does anyone have any specific questions on the test? Nobody? Y'all good? As always, test corrections. What is different this time is guaranteed 65, guaranteed 10 points or 10 points higher, or whatever it is you earn on the test. Grab a test correction paper before you leave if you are interested. Alrighty. So I already put on the board, pick up your new packet. Guys, I don't know how you feel about this, but it is your final new packet of the year. There are. Why? Why would I let you move seats? You're never here. When you're here 5 school days in a row, I let you. You were not.
Yes, he was every day of the week.
I'm God, he was. I'm late.
I'm lame.
I'm
All right, well, I will think about it. Anyway, this is your final new packet. Oh, wait, no, don't start. Don't, hey, Carter, it was in the wrong spot, so don't you cross off whatever you started writing. Yeah, that was the wrong thing. Don't write that.
Boys are buzzing.
All right, anyway. I've pointed this out before, but we have 27, possibly 26, if they give us a snow day on May 26th.
That was the day after my dad's birthday.
So, okay, good to know. Thank you. We will know that officially. It sounds like by Wednesday morning, we'll know that officially. Stop talking.
What?
We have 27, maybe 26 days. I know that's super exciting. Some of you may also get a little nervous about that because it means you only have 27 days left to learn the rest of Earth Science and then review for the regions that you've never taken a Regents before in your life. So I can definitely sense some stress that's going on. The Regents is June 17th and it starts at 11:30 a.m. And it has been clarified that you have to take the Regents to get credit for this class. So I know we've talked about there's a difference between possibly not passing and not taking. It is official. You must take the Regents. You don't necessarily have to pass. You have to pass the year though.
How many Regents are there?
I'm just talking about Earth Science. I'm your Earth Science teacher. Ask your other teachers what their classes are. And remember, this whole not necessarily passing only applies to Earth Science. This does not apply to your global. I don't know the rules for global. I know it does not apply. I don't know what has to happen. Same with math, but I can confidently say if you're passing the year, you'll be okay as long as you take the Regents for Earth Science. All right. Anyway, just to make sure you guys all know, are you all aware that there is a lab portion of the Regents? No. So I will, if you haven't heard about this, which you have heard it, if you don't remember that I said it earlier in the year or your lab teacher has said it, there's a lab portion of the Regents. There are 16 questions and you either, Mr. D, do you remember if it's 8 or 9 minutes?
It's 9 minutes.
I think it's either 8 or 9. We're gonna go with, I'm pretty sure it's 9. That sounds like a little bit of time. I'll tell you it's plenty. It's plenty of time. It's not like 3 labs like I give you normally. It's 3 itty bitty labs. And as long as you read the directions and do what they say, you'll be golden. So number 1 rule of earth science, read all the words and do what they say. So you'll be fine. That's during lab. That's not during Regents Week. That's during your lab period. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if we have 26 days of class, that means we only have 13 labs. One of those lab periods will be a test. So you really only have 12 labs, and we need to get moving in lab. So what I'm going to do in this packet is we're going to jump around quite a bit because I want to make sure we're ready for lab when it's time for a lab. That being said, we're going to start the packet. Chapter 9, the final chapter, astronomy. Like I said, super cool chapter. You could major in astronomy in college, meaning you could take years and years and years and years of astronomy stuff. We're going to do it in about 2.5, 3 weeks. So are we learning much astronomy? No. And it is earth science, so it's how Earth fits into space. And as Renee mentioned, I'm talking about astronomy, not astrology. I will never once mention your horoscope or your sign, but you will see some connections with them. So you might notice I bring up some stars that might be in your sign or whatever. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now, Renee. So if you want to correct me at any point when I'm talking about that stuff, you're more than welcome to. Anyway, moving on. You guys know the Earth moves, right? You know right now, even though you are sitting very still in your seat, you know you are flying through space, right?
Isn't that, can't you like do something because the Earth's still or something?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but maybe. Right now, Earth is spinning. Yes, at 1,040, I didn't know the number off the top of my head. 1,040 miles per hour. That's pretty freaking fast. That's not just fast. That's a 0.5 kilometer every second. So that's really, really fast. But at the same time, we're also moving around the sun. We're going around the sun at approximately 18.5 miles every second. So we're going really, really, really fast around the sun. Anybody getting seasick yet?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe.
You have a headache.
I don't believe any of this.
It's probably because we're going fast.
How do they get this data?
Yeah, they get those.
I'm flabbergasted.
It's called math. It's math. Yeah, it's math. They know how big it is. They know how long it takes to go around. They can just do math. Like nobody's sitting out there with a radar gun shooting it and seeing how fast it's going.
No, but like, that would be hilarious.
That would be, and someone, I feel like it must not have been this class. It was a different class now that I'm looking around. It is a great place to start a science fiction novel, right? Okay, so how are we moving it? I think most of you know what are the 2 ways Earth moves. We actually already just mentioned it. What are the 2 motions the Earth does? We spin. And okay, so I'm seeing charades again for the win. So we spin. No. Yes, but no, that's the shape of the Earth. That's not what we're talking about. The Earth spins, much like a ballerina spins, right?
Rotates and spins.
No, perfect. Okay. We have 10 minutes. Let me take care of the last 10 minutes of class here. So ballerinas spin, right? Ballerinas get on their toes and they spin around. I know I'm not much of a ballerina. What's the word for that? That word is rotation. So in your note packet, you first need to define the word rotation. Welcome back. You can officially join us now. Here, grab this. So rotation is spinning. So a whole bunch of you just said a whole bunch of words. And from what people were saying, you get the 2 words the Earth does, rotation and revolution, jumbled in your brain. You can't anymore. Maybe in elementary school, They kind of let it slide when you said the wrong word, but meant the other one. I can no longer let it slide. Rotation means spinning. Revolution is going around the sun. Circles around the sun. I cannot let you change around the words anymore. Rotation is spinning, revolution is going around. So today we're just going to do rotation for the next 10 minutes. So I bring up ballerinas because ballerinas rotate on their toes. So I use the phrase row toe because ballerinas spin on their toes. So rotation is when a ballerina spins on their toes. Rotation is when the earth spins on its axis. Do you guys know how long it takes to spin on the axis or how long you thought it took?
23 hours, 26 minutes, and 4 seconds.
Thank you for working with me, Renee. You thought it took 24 hours, right? Takes the earth one whole day to spin, right? You've been lied to your entire life. Because it doesn't take 24 hours, it takes 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds to make one full turn. Thank you, Renee, because where does 24 come from then? So the clock would be really effed up, right? If there were 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds in a day. Like you guys have a hard enough time reading that clock. Imagine if it was 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds. It would be a mess. So they round up to 24 hours. Ask your next question, Renee, then.
I'm just confused at this point. Like, it doesn't really make much sense.
It doesn't make much
Why
sense.
they, like, if they knew this, why wouldn't they just change the clocks? But it makes sense.
That the clock could mess up the clock. So Renee's next question, I think, is, well, where are the remaining
3 minutes.
3 minutes and 56 seconds? Whew. That was your next question, right, Renee?
Sure.
What about those remaining 3 minutes and 56 seconds? They are, you know how we got leap years?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So every day, those 3 minutes and 56 seconds, you add them up, it brings us to, we need a whole extra day every 4 years.
My peanut butter and jelly keeps unstuck.
So that's why we have leap year, or not, yeah, leap years, because they need to make it up. I'm guessing, Jake, did that cover, you had your hand raised a little while ago.
It was kind of off topic, but it was about the earth.
Okay.
What kind of mark?
So causes day and night. Were you guys aware that the fact that the earth spins causes day and night?
I actually want to answer that question.
You do want to ask it, okay?
It's gonna sound really dumb.
We might.
Never mind.
I'm not
I'm
surprised.
gonna ask it.
You don't want to ask
I'm
it?
gonna take that.
Okay, but I would really like you to ask it because if it's something that's a little hazy, I bet someone else is a little confused too.
So.
And they're
you
also
see
afraid
how
to
the
ask it
Earth's
because
on
they
a
don't want to
tilt,
ask.
correct?
Yeah.
So when you're like tilted, like say you're on a slanted piece of wood,
Mm-hmm.
This is dumb.
couldn't you like, is there less gravity where the Earth's tilted?
Well, no, the whole earth is tilted, so it's not.
But like some parts are up, right, and other parts are down. right?
So, but gravity pulls you towards the center of the earth. So it doesn't just pull you down
Okay.
into space, it pulls you towards the center.
So wait.
So that's why the people down here are being pulled,
Elaborating on this.
they're pulled to your up. Remember how we talked about up and down and north and south are different words. Okay, it's gotta be real quick because I actually have to teach. Okay, thank you. And I do appreciate that because I just heard a whole bunch of you go, oh, okay, so that clicked.
No, but like, say you're on the side, say there's like a valley.
You
right?
mean, okay,
So the earth is tilted, right? So say the earth's not tilted, there's a valley, right? And it's tilted, that means valley is tilted. Right? When you're standing on the side of it.
Huh?
so form your thought, write it down, text it to me, we'll figure it out. So anyway, do you understand how day and night happens? I think you do, but I've learned never to assume things with you guys. So let's just make sure everybody understands day and night. For the record, when I say day, I mean the time of the day when the sun is shining on you. Like technically today, right now is day. I know the sun's not very bright, but you all know it's not dark out right now. So when I say day, I'm not necessarily saying AM or PM. I'm talking about the time when the light is out. Speaking of lights, there's our new make-believe. Sun, earth,
So
sun,
space is pretty.
Earth.
dark, right?
space is dark because there's no sun. So for the
Sure
record,
there is.
stop, sun, earth. Do you see why we have day and night now?
Yeah.
Can you
I
put
know.
into words? How about somebody who doesn't talk much? So
Me.
not that side of the room, not you, Renee.
Can you say Tyson?
How about the rest of you? Can you explain where day is in simple words?
On the side of the sun.
The side that's on the sunny side, the side that's facing the sun is experiencing daytime. The side opposite the sun is experiencing darkness because the sun does not get over there. So that's how we get day and night. Well, then how does this place get, sorry, trying not to shine this in your eyes, but I'm not paying attention. How does this side over here eventually get day? The earth rotates. So it's not that the sun moves, the earth moves. And these people who are over here in the dark will eventually come over here in the light.
If your stop moving when we get sick.
We would fly off into space because you know objects in motion stay in motion. But we're gonna keep going.
Doesn't make sense.
How about this whole 15 degrees per hour? The earth rotates. I just told you, Kai told us that the earth is spinning at 1,040 miles per hour. This says 15 degrees per hour.
No, I thought it was like.
No, that was revolving. How does it rotate 15 degrees
Around
per
the
hour?
360 degrees.
Longitude.
360. Why did Jake just say the word
Because that's
360?
how many degrees in a full circle.
So if I asked you to do a 360 degree turn, what would you do? Thank you. Go sit down. It's one full turn. So the earth has to do one full turn, 360 degrees. Approximately how long does that take?
About a day, but.
About a day. So we already know it's this, but like Renee really would rather think about, it's 24 hours. And what do you guys think 360 divided by 24 gives you?
12.
Try again.
60.
Try again.
15.
15.
First try.
Okay,
Yeah, we
so
can
you
do that.
hopefully knew some of that. And then I just 10th graded up what you already knew. So instead of 24 hours, you now know it's not quite 24 hours. And you've probably never thought of this degrees per hour thing. That's it for today. You have no homework unless you're doing test corrections. Grab the orange sheet. Here, wait, hang on.